Hi, this is Connie Miller. This is my husband, Willie, and we are your Christian dissidents, and we're here to sound the alarm.
That's right. And you may be asking, what is a Christian dissident? Well, a dissident is someone refusing to conform with the politics and belief of the society in which you live in.
Yes. So we have a lot to say today.
Right.
We are fired up. So it started early this morning. Actually, it's been going on for a while now. But we watched a video this morning, and this was a woman in California. Somebody else had shared this video, Graham Allen, and I did share it on my Facebook page. But of a woman, the mayor, obviously, I think had closed her bar, and she...
For COVID.
COVID. And we all know California, most of us know how crazy tyrannical the California governor and mayors are being. Mm-hmm. So she took the camera and she says, she was outside and there was outdoor, one of those canopy tents with tables under it. And she says, this was set up for a movie production or something like that. For people that are doing a movie, I took it. And so she walked just a little bit farther. I guess she's been protesting and people have been giving her a hard time about that. And she goes over to her bar and she's set up an outside area with just a few, like picnic tables and a covering, so she could be following the guidelines that they had of eating outdoors. And this woman was in tears. She says, tell me how this is not safe, and taking the camera to her outdoor setting and then just turning it and 50 feet away, and how that is safe.
And there was twice as many tables, twice as many chairs set up on the movie company's tents as what was on hers. And she was just broken because they would not allow her to open up. And everyone is starving.
Well, she was crying. She says, somebody has got to help us.
Right.
Somebody's got to start doing something. I was wanting to cry. Mm-hmm. And this is nothing new for us, how we're feeling. So we're sounding to the alarm because there's some big things that are very wrong right now. And one thing I'm finding is that Christians where are they? I mean, you have some pastors. There's a few. Greg Locke, MacArthur was in California. Mm-hmm. Greg Locke, I believe, is in Tennessee, being loud and boisterous about this, right. About the mask, about everything. And they're sounding the alarm. Mm-hmm. And it's getting more and more where I can't be quiet about this. We're destroying people. They're destroying people's livelihoods in the name of COVID. So you want to...
Well, I was thinking about this. Over the years, there's been several different things that have happened that Christians do this blaming on so-and-so, like Madeleine O'Hare and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to get into that except for the fact, the main thing that I believe that is the issue is that the Christians are thinking in their mind for whatever reason, and we're just supposed to be quiet, passive, and submit.
I think that we have a problem because we think that if we're not doing what our government leaders ask us, we're not being I don't even know the address now, the verse that everybody submit to your authorities. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, we are to submit to authorities. But what if the authorities are lying to you? So what I'm discovering is that, do we know how to recognize evil when we see it? I'm encountering people that maybe they recognize it, but if you really think it's evil that's going on, and what I mean by evil is evil forces are working through our leaders, mm-hmm. working through our politicians, because that's how evil works.
Right.
They work through people.
Right.
And there are some things you just know is evil.
That's right.
Now, when COVID first came out, nobody knew what was going on. We were told this was the deadliest, how many people are going to die from this? all this stuff they told us, so everybody did what they were supposed to do. But now, 10 months later,
we're still doing it.
Here we are, and they're ramping it all back up again. Mm-hmm. Now, have you found, I'm sick and tired of hearing, well, if you don't wear a mask, you don't love your neighbor. I wear a mask for others. So why do you think we feel that way, Willie? We were just talking about this the other day.
Because that's what we were told as a narrative.
You hear it over and over and
yes.
over. And you're hearing it more.
Right.
It's the moral thing to do. Mm-hmm. Well, the moral thing for us to do is to tell you the truth. The moral thing for Christians is to be sounding the alarm. We should be the loudest megaphone out there. There's so much stuff happening right now. It's not just COVID, it's a bunch of different things.
And I think that's the thing that we need to understand, and this is what we're talking about. What we're talking about is bigger than a mask. It's way bigger than a mask. And that's what we need to understand. And just to kind of remind people, it's okay to stand up and say this isn't right. If you go through the Bible, you'll find places after places after places where men of God stood against leaders and said, you're doing wrong. And so we need to be willing as Christians
to be a dissident.
Yes, because God gave us that authority to be the governing body. And we need to do that.
So, first of all, it's not a law.
Right.
And, it'd be different if this was like scarlet fever or something, Ebola. Okay, yes, people have died from this. Nobody ever is downplaying people that have died from COVID.
It's a terrible
But let me tell you, why aren't we making this big a deal about all the other people out there have died from the numbers have been way higher that died of cancer, that have died to other diseases, that the numbers are way higher. Why is it just COVID that we're focusing on? And guess what, folks? We're not getting out of here alive. We're gonna die. We're so busy trying to keep alive that we're not living. I've heard that said a few times, and it really is. And I don't really believe that most of our governing authority, I'm talking like at the top, I'm not talking about everybody, but really don't have our best interests at heart.
Well, and that's true. We've seen that, especially in a lot of these governors and even mayors. They'll put mandates, stay home over the holiday, and we find them in Florida or traveling in airplanes. And the what can I say?
Well,
it just doesn't make sense what they say.
Yeah.
Except for what we're getting ready to talk about.
And here's the thing, though. But many Americans probably don't even know that. Because the mainstream evil media is lying to us so desperately bad. It's disheartening. I mean, yeah, we've been lied to before, but journalism isn't journalism anymore.
No, it's not.
Journalism used to be an unbiased. You tell the story. The people make their opinion. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, turn off the mainstream media. The only reason we know what we know is because we don't watch mainstream media.
Ever.
Independent news stations are rising up, and they're showing things that the media wouldn't dare show because they have an agenda. They have a political party that they're for, and they're being paid to sell a narrative.
And you might as well say it. This party is a socialist party.
It's the Democratic Socialist Party.
And we need to be sounding an alarm about this and standing against this.
And I just want to say, so, they say, at first they came out, the masks don't work, right? Fauci even said that. And then they changed their tune, right? And so guess what? We've been wearing masks since our governor started in July with an order. So since July, since the summer, and all you got to do is walk out and go in a store. Everybody's wearing a mask. We're doing what they've been saying. So why are the numbers rising? Supposedly. If these masks work so well. Why are they rising?
And the question is there a greater purpose for doing this? And
There
that's
absolutely is a greater purpose.
and that's what we want to focus on, that greater purpose.
And so, what happened in my life, and usually what happens to anybody's life, is that when you get to a point that you're sick of the things that are happening and the way they are, then you start to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Then something alarms in you and you start to pay attention.
Because
that's what happened with me.
Click. Hey, does not compute. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, and it's God.
Mm-hmm.
It's God. So, there's so much we want to talk about. We probably won't do it all in this video, but I know that we have got to start, even more than ever, we need digital warriors.
Right.
Because basically, technology the way it is,
the word can get out.
And we're being fought and being censored on every level. And then again, people that don't have social media accounts don't know that either.
Right.
So we want to talk to you about a specific thing that's happening. So I listened to Heidi St. John, and she was talking about this book, and she says, I'm not asking you to I'm telling you everybody needs to get this book. Mm-hmm. So I have ordered it, and then I started doing some research because I loved what she said from the book. And so a lot of what we're going to be talking about literally does come from this man and what he's written, but it's the truth.
Right.
Here's the thing. As Christians, we aren't to live by lies.
Right.
So the title of this book is Live Not by Lies. And it is the manual for Christian dissidents.
And then one of the things before you go into that, if you don't mind, one of the scriptures that I looked up the other day, because I think, why does this matter if Christians really get so informed that they're able to resist this stuff? Well, Paul wrote that I would like that you not be ignorant like those who sleep. And, that scripture can go a long way, but I want to point out that very thing that Paul said, hey, you guys cannot be sleeping at this time in our society. This is a time that we need to wake up, we need to get involved, and we need to start doing something. And the best way we can do something is by information. He said, I do not want you to be ignorant. And the only way you can combat ignorance is with information. And see, if we're
gaining knowledge, gaining understanding, gaining wisdom, right?
Yes, and so this is what this is all about, guys. It's a biblical thing that God wants us to do, is to get knowledge, understanding, and then use that knowledge to tell other people so that we don't get deceived. You know why that people get deceived? Because they don't know they're deceived. Well, if we're giving them knowledge, they can't get deceived. And
it's our responsibility. What a person does with that information, you don't have to believe it. You can throw off everything we say today, or whoever you talk to. But I have the responsibility for what I know now, mm-hmm. to inform others, to educate others. Because I'm telling you, we're living in a world that people don't know what's happening. And I'm speaking from personal experience, and for God to do what he's done in the last year, and what I could not even tell you a year ago,
right,
that I understand now. But God is waking more and more people up.
That's right.
He really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the longer this goes on, you see, Satan, he only can hide for so long. He gives himself away.
Then the lies are exposed.
If you want to see it. Mm-hmm. Can we recognize him?
Right. So,
literally, what we want to talk to you today about what's called soft totalitarianism. Mm-hmm. Soft totalitarianism. So, the Christian dissidents were people that lived like in other countries, in the Soviet Union, China. There's been Christian dissidents all the time,
especially in the Asian continent and Southeast Asia. There's been Christian dissidents that have been martyred for their strength and their belief.
And I want to quote this the right way, but the first misconception is believing that totalitarianism cannot happen in your country.
Right.
Because we're America, we are a land of freedom. I don't think many realize how close we are to losing that.
Right.
Yeah, things have been happening all along, but we're at a precipice now. We are at a precipice that if we do not start sounding an alarm and being a megaphone, the church, we're going to lose everything that we've cherished. And that's no joke. God does not desire us. He wants us to live in liberty and freedom here. He purchased it for us for the eternal and for here.
Right.
So, see, lies are the lifeblood of totalitarianism. To resist is to hold fast to truth. So we think if we're resisting, do whatever they say to do, wear that mask, or
close your
business because it's safe, and that's a moral thing to do.
Stay inside. Okay,
but is that the truth? Totalitarianism its power is based on lies. Mm-hmm. And to resist it means to hold fast to truth. Do we know what truth is? Do we? I mean, we know what we can quote from the Bible.
Right.
But can we recognize it in our everyday life? I mean, in the world we're living in right now? Because we got to be able to bring the scriptures and apply it to what we're living in right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's right.
You want to add to that?
I'm going to wait a second.
So I'm going to read some things just straight from so I don't miss anything because there's some points I want to make out. So this is a quote from this book, and it's Mr. Dreher, Dreher, if you want to get it. Live Not by Lies. He says, what we face now is the deadly totalitarianism of the 20th century monster regimes. It's the soft totalitarianism of cultural institutions, universities, workplace bureaucracies, and big tech that will drive you from the public square if you dissent from the prevailing radicalism. Just take that in. That's where we're living.
And I had a flash when you said that. I was thinking about how we've been groomed over the last 15 years.
Well, you're right. But something that he pointed out is that soft totalitarianism thrives without opposition because we've been dragged into complacency by the high-tech comforts and the hedonistic pleasure of the state market.
Yeah, and watch this. It's just like holy cow. 15 years ago or so, maybe not quite that long, Facebook started getting really popular. And everybody wanted to be on Facebook because we can keep connected with our family. We use it as a tool so that we can see what's going on with our family.
And friends you haven't seen.
And now the whole narrative is stay home and use social media to connect with your family.
So they call them Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Zuckerberg. Oh, probably gets censored for this.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway.
That's right.
You know what? I'll just share it privately with everybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm at the point I don't care.
Oh, wait. Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Dorsey of Twitter. Mm-hmm. So, literally, this is what's happening. So, soft totalitarianism is one in which an ideology seeks to displace all prior traditions and institutions, with the goal of bringing all aspects of society under control of that ideology.
Here's an idea. You all stay home for Thanksgiving so you can be safe.
So, but what's some other ideologies?
Yeah.
We saw it all summer.
Yeah.
Social
events, church.
No, but they want us to conform to their ideology.
That's what I mean. They're
some of their ideologies, and now it's about politics. identity politics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's about LGBT, color, racism. What's the the schools? What's the name for it? I can't think of it. It starts with an A. Can't even remember it now. But these are identity politics. That's what you're hearing now,
Right.
And it is an ideology.
Mm-hmm.
All summer long, we heard that there's systemic racism everywhere. Keep hearing it and keep hearing it and keep hearing it. You actually create it even more.
In fact of the matter, it's gone to the narrative: if you're white, you're racist. And
they're taking it to the schools.
Right.
So, a totalitarian state is one that aspires to nothing less than defining and controlling reality. Mm-hmm. That is the key. They control the reality. People, wake up. Wake up. Look around. How does any of this even make sense? The COVID's real. But they're using the COVID to distort reality. Mm-hmm. We haven't done this for any other horrible disease that's been out there. Guess what? You're not going to run from COVID. A mask is not going to protect you from COVID. It's so small, it can get through all that. And the way people are wearing them, they're not even wearing them right anyway. People are just doing it because they have to. The majority, because they have to.
They're doing it because they want to be compliant.
So, social media, we have an agenda right now of the election not being stolen, mm-hmm. and it absolutely was. There's evidence everywhere. It's coming out right and left, but mainstream media is controlling the reality.
That's right. That's right.
Giving you a false reality. They control the reality. So, and it's different. Totalitarianism is different than what it used to look like, because we're thinking it doesn't have the appearance of what the Soviet Union had, mm-hmm. right? Right. This is why it's unrecognized by most Americans, including conservative people of faith. We don't even recognize it because we think it looks a certain way.
And it's so subtle. But on the same token, it's like it's blaring, but people don't see it. And,
that's right. It's so close to our faces that you miss it.
Right. It's so bad because I walk into the stores and I see fear and submission on every person's face. And these folks don't.
And guess what, folks? If you think these masks are going to go away, now that we've complied to this, guess what? Okay, they may go away after a while for COVID, but guess what? They're going to say flu season comes up. Let's wear a mask because they work so well for COVID. Because we submitted to it, mm-hmm. without questioning. So, here today's totalitarianism is less overtly intimidating, mm-hmm. Than it is therapeutic. So it masks its hatred of dissenters, which is us, and all of the people that are dissenting, the hatred, from its utopian ideology in the guise of helping and healing.
Right.
You hear it's the moral thing to do.
We're here to help you.
No, but to do, right. We care. If you care about your neighbor, if you care mm-hmm. about the guy that's in the grocery store next to you, you're going to wear your mask. Listen for the narrative. It's subtle and it's soft. It sounds good, but it's a lie. It's a lie, and because we've heard it, we're believing it. Wake up. Wake up. I'm angry. I'm a righteous angry. It makes me angry. There's a lot of things making me angry right now, and we should be angry.
Mm-hmm. And number one, however this COVID thing came, we're not saying COVID's not real. We've seen people die. We know that it's real stuff. What we're dealing with here is the control and them demanding submission to them.
Because what is really happening, and it's, with the election, that's a whole nother thing. But I'm sorry. You don't want Biden and Harris. You better hope. You better pray that, and I believe it's going to be overturned. Not overturned. It's not.
thrown
out because he got it. They lied. But if you'd been paying attention up until that point, but the mainstream media has not told you a lot of stuff that's been happening up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
They've been making a narrative in favor of Biden and Harris, hiding Hunter Biden's story that he's in collusion with China and his father's in collusion with China.
Hiding the fact that Joe Biden
took
himself
money.
has made very horrible racist comments.
Yes. So you've heard the narrative for 4 years.
Yes.
All the stuff about Trump, actually the things that they're saying about Trump is actually true about them.
That's true.
That's what they do. Search your history about the Democratic Party. I'm not saying everybody in that. I'm saying the system of it. The people in the leadership.
Check out who was the party that fought for racial equality.
And so, yeah. And so, don't even go there. We could tell you so much. Mm-hmm. And a lot of you probably already know that's watching this. But
here's the thing. If you're not studying and if you're not looking into this and you're not really diligently find that, you're standing up to those that Paul was talking about. You're the one that's asleep and ignorant. And you guys got to wake up and start seeing this.
Oh, it's a sad, sad state. I have more here. I'm trying to find. We have so much. I mean, go ahead. You talk while I look on here what I want to point out.
You know, I lost my train here. One of the things that we got to start looking at is spending time. You know, I saw where God told Moses he required him to write down everything and to never forget history. But what are we doing today? The Democratic Party is encouraging our history being destroyed, our monuments being wiped out, and all. Why is that? Because if we allow our monuments and our history to be destroyed, we forget. We're only one generation for forgetting that stuff. Well, if we don't forget it, then the socialist people, they're not going to get by with what they're doing, because we're going to say, hey, wait a minute, I know what this is going to bring. They try to hide what's going over in other countries where socialism has destroyed countries, and they're doing this thing so sneaky. Well, it's just hurtful to see that up. No, it is hurtful. We hate it. I mean, what are we going to do? Destroy all the Holocaust museums and say there was no Holocaust and go on and on and on? If we don't hold on to our history and we don't start waking up,
we won't recognize when it's right in front of our face.
That's right.
I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I hated history. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have told. I didn't retain anything. I didn't have any interest in it up until the last few months, and now I love it. Now it's like I'm in high school learning all over again what I should have retained then, and now it's all making sense what I see happening right before my eyes. It's not. It's been happening. They've been trying to lead us to a socialist nation. Mm-hmm. But it's never been to this degree. Where we're at right now is. It's at the precipice.
If we erase what brought us to where we are now, then we can take us to the Socialist Party, and that's what they're trying to do now.
So I want to go back to that. They guise when they're soft totalitarianism, they guise everything by helping and healing, right? Mm-hmm. So, what's some things that we can think of that we've been hearing? And it is true. That's how they talk. Mm-hmm. So this is why some people had such a hard time when Trump came in, because he's not a career politician.
No.
He doesn't soothe the ear. He's what we needed to stand against this. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you like him or not. He's for America. Mm-hmm. You better hope he's for America. Somebody's got to be for America.
Some of the things that they sell as a narrative is, well, if you vote for me, we'll give everybody free health care.
Oh, that's where I was going to go, Obamacare. I was thinking about that. Let me tell you, I've had Obamacare since it started, and every year it's gone up. It's gone up crazy amounts every year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every year. Somebody's paying for that health care.
Yeah.
Nothing's free. It's. I heard somebody, it's like they rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right. And
Wipe out college tuition. Well, guess what? Somebody's got to pay for that. Somebody's going to pay for that. They're sneaky. You're still going to end up paying for it, but they're just going to go through a back door, right? Is that?
That's a good one.
And put it in on the American people. We're still going to be paying for it. What's some other things?
The narrative is, well, we need to give higher taxes to the wealthy so that we can subsidize these programs. Well, what happens when the wealthy's been taxed until they have no money? Who gets it then? Guess what? It comes to us. So literally, in a matter of a few years, a wealthy country becomes broke and destitute because you cannot sustain these things.
I forget how many times socialism's been tried in other countries, and it's never worked, ever.
Never.
Venezuela's proof. They were one of the richest countries, and now look at them. They're waiting in food lines. There's no, you don't find the groceries in the stores. The elite, it's there for them.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what they're trying to do, guys. This is what they're trying to do. They're using COVID, and I have my suspicions. You know, we know it came from China, but I have my suspicions that people that are in America, they're in a collusion with China, probably had this all planned. I would not put that past.
So
I don't know that for sure, but everything that's happened, I would guess it. So literally what they want us to do, this is why they want us to keep us locked down. This is why they're attacking small businesses while keeping Walmart open with how many people? But a small business can't be open?
A small business,
if
with
it's so
50
deadly,
people, 50 Patreon is going to kill people, but a business like Walmart that'll have 3,000 or 4,000 people in the building
in a day's time, or
time.
no,
well, probably even more than that, but is okay. It's not a risk.
So, just like when we heard this video, and the patriots, true patriots, are recognizing this. They want the economy crashed. They want us to depend on the government. There's a catch to taking money from them. This is what they want. Open your eyes, people. This is what they want. Because this is how socialism starts. We are going to be a socialistic country if this election is not proven it was fraudulent.
But
if our people don't stand up.
And you have to understand, along with socialism, there's always a tie connected to it. Just like the bill that they're trying to pass with the stimulus package or whatever, relief package, whatever they're going to call it, there is actually people right now lobbying to make it mandatory to get a vaccination if you want that $1,500 check. What?
Yeah. All the evidence is out there. We're not sitting here thinking this up in our head. It's all stuff that we've seen. We've read, we've investigated, and it's like it doesn't take much to put a puzzle together.
And you can rest assured, I'm the guy, you can ask my wife, that tries to disprove stuff. And when you can't disprove it, but only prove it what you're trying to disprove, only prove it even more, then you know that's the direction you need to go. You need to start looking, opening your eyes. You need to start pushing to get back against these things and become a Christian dissident.
So, we've been talking about our authority in Christ. Well, what does that look like? Okay, so if we can't, part of taking our authority is standing up to lies. If we can't even stand up and take a face mask off, then how are we going to stand up when the next thing comes? Even worse. I mean, they're already doing stuff to the churches. It's so obvious. Cuomo is attacking the Jewish people. I mean, it's so obvious what's going on. So, folks, if you can't even do that, and I know it's hard. I remember the first time I did it. I went with my girlfriend into Buc-ee's, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm committing the worst crime. I couldn't look people in the eye. I couldn't do nothing. I felt horrible. I'm like, this isn't right. I'm not the one committing a crime here. I'm not the one. And so, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And now we just boldly, confidently walk in places. Now, if I go somewhere, not in Walmart or the stores, but like if I'm going to an event with somebody and someone would ask me to put it on, like I went to a friend's ballet today. I didn't wear it, didn't walk in with it. If somebody would have asked me, I would have put it on. Not because, just out of courtesy, but the only place we wear them is the doctor's office.
Work.
And people, you don't have to take your business there. You don't have to. Turn around and walk out. So, one more thing I want to point out is, so in this book, he, through interviewing people that had come out of, that were dissidents, and coming out of these places, you know, where communism was and, you know, socialism, here's the keys that they give to you. It says, he interviewed several dissidents or their families and distills their efforts into a few timely lessons. Number one, preserve the memory of what is under attack. Preserve the memory of what is under attack. This is why they were destroying everything this summer.
That's right.
There's a lot of other things under attack, but take religion as the basis of resistance. So we're not going to say religion. Take the Lord Jesus Christ, because religion is just religion. It's about a living relationship with Jesus Christ. Take Jesus Christ as the basis of resistance. Consider the family the primary fighting brigade. Show solidarity with other dissidents. And I love how God has connected us with like-minded dissidents. I mean, you know, or people that know what's going on. Because I'm telling you, there's a division happening right now in the church over this. And I'm sorry, but I want to be, I'm not saying everybody's going to be a loud voice, but all of us can do our part. So show solidarity with other dissidents and see the good in suffering. And above all, value nothing more than truth.
That's it.
And here's the truth. It's really easier to live in the lies than to live in truth.
That's right.
It really is. I had a discussion with my son today, and you know, God's even doing a work in him because he's seen the change in me. He says I'm political. Well, yeah, there is an aspect of that, but I try to tell him you can't separate it all because God's in all of it.
Right.
So, where was I going with that? I totally just lost my train of thought sorry, I lost my train there. With the family system, where was I going with that? What did I just say? Totally went out of my head. That never happens to y'all.
Connect each other and then...
Well, anyway, my son, you know, had no interest, but I've seen a change in him. He's starting to kind of listen to some things. And this is proof that your environment does affect your beliefs.
That's it.
Now, he doesn't sit there and listen, but I've been trying to, and I've been frustrated at times. I say, Trevor, I want to tell you this stuff because you need to know what's happening. This is your future. I'm not so much concerned about my future. I'm concerned about my children's future, my grandchildren's future, and so should you. So, today we had such a good conversation, you know, and some of the things he said was so disheartening. He was talking about how nothing's the same at school.
Right.
Nothing. He says everybody's depressed and nobody wants to do anything. I said, well, it's because you can't do anything. So how do we expect drug addicts to get free if there's nothing they can do to replace it? It's so anyway, part of me educating my son is it's the family. What they said, the family. So it says consider the family the primary fighting brigade. So me educating my son is bringing him into that brigade. And I told him, I said, I'm not concerned whether you say another, because, you know, he said, I'm not going to talk to anybody about this. I said, that's okay. I said, I'm not concerned about that. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I said, I'm concerned that you just know. It's for you. I want you to know. I want you to understand these things. So now I've got to be deliberate in teaching my son what socialism means. what communism means. And I know they teach some of this stuff in school, but if it was like my school, they kind of breeze over it and they don't give much attention to it. And how many of us as teenagers that really retain it?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Until it starts affecting your life. And Trevor, how many times has Trevor said, I can't wait till this crap is over with? Mm-hmm. Because it's affecting his life. So when something starts affecting your life, like I said, you start paying attention. Mm-hmm. So is it affecting your life? Wake up. Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up, body of Christ. We are the megaphone. We are the megaphone. And so like Daniel, when he's still in the lion's den, mm-hmm. and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, well, we say, well, it's outright evil they were standing against.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. It's outright evil right now. It just looks different. They wouldn't worship. He wouldn't bow down and pray when to their gods. Mm-hmm. Okay, guess what? We have a cult of COVID going on right now. We're bowing down to the God of COVID. We're bowing down to the God of the narrative.
Right. And and
aren't we?
Yeah. And I want to bring up one other part that I just reminded me of, Mordecai and Esther. And the reason why I want to bring Mordecai and Esther up was really interesting because Mordecai went to Esther and said, you got to speak up, you got to go to king and tell him. Now watch this. Haman was the one that was causing the problem. But her voice was heard through the king, and because of that, it was stopped. If our voice is heard to the leaders in this nation, and we say... And
just to your neighbors, to the people you come in contact with.
We don't want this, then something's going to change. Your governors, your city councilmen, your leadership, and so on and so forth. But see, Esther didn't go and rebuke the king. She just told him what was going on and the hurt that was be done. So even if you don't feel like you should stand against the leadership, but if you're not speaking your voice and saying there's a crime being done or there's wrong being done, then you're just...
And that's what it is with the mask. It can be something that simple. Mm-hmm. Because now I feel every time that I go in without one, I'm actually standing for truth. I'm actually standing for... I am the resistance. We are the resistance, right. Guys.
Watch this. This is really cool. Mordecai told Esther, she said, do not think if you stay quiet that God won't raise up another. But... if you're quiet, you will perish along with those that are being punished. But if you stand up and you speak out, then something big is going to happen. I'm paraphrasing that, but guys, you got to understand that God has called us to stand up and say there's a wrong being done, and we are not going to live with it. And watch what happens.
When it's already happening.
Statistics show it only takes 5% of the nation to stand against something.
And I think, and if you watch real media, you'll see that it is starting to happen. People are starting to wake up and starting to stand against this. It's tyranny. Right. Even people that are doing what they say to do, get their tables distance, putting their mask on, all that, and they're still shutting them down.
And you might be saying, well, it's too late. It's already going to happen because he's already been elected. No, there's legal battles going on right now. Sidney Powell, Giuliani, and a bunch of other attorneys are fighting.
Testimony after testimony of Americans who are getting threatened.
Jay Sekulow, all these great attorneys are fighting for your freedom right now. And there's a way you can support. Your voice could be a $10 bill to one of these companies,
or a $500 bill. Yeah. For the legal. I want to send money to that lady today. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a business that's going out and you can help.
True News. They're paying bills.
Oh my gosh, True News. True News
Watch is them. Paying fines.
They give headlines around the world, what's going on, and they connect the dots so well. I learn a lot. And so, they paid the fine for the Jewish people that had the wedding in New York City.
And a church in
and another one, in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It was the pastor, they had it outdoors, an outdoor service in their car. They want to do it in their cars even. And it was freezing, and they still got fined and still won't let them open up. You don't tell me something's not going on.
You can make it.
He's paying the fines.
Yeah.
He says we as a body have got to stand up. People, this is not disobedience as you're thinking it is. This is standing up against evil.
And God has ordained it. And he's telling you that if you're not quiet, he will raise somebody else to do it. But you'll perish along with those that are being suffered.
And this isn't about, oh, Trump's going to save the nation. We're not putting our faith in Trump.
No.
God's still God. But doesn't God use people?
Yeah.
Aren't we the hands and feet? Can he not use any man he wants to use? Guess what? America was God's idea. Mm-hmm. For our founding fathers, God had to put that in their hearts to start with.
Yep.
God chose America to be an example to the world as for freedom, I believe. Mm-hmm. Freedom and liberty. And we're about to lose it. We're about to lose it. So we won't even go into the vaccines.
Man,
we didn't even go to the vaccines because that's really where it all started this morning. It wasn't just that video.
There's so much we could tell.
But we're going to be doing more.
Yeah. So guys, get involved. Quit sleeping and get educated.
And quit thinking you're being a disobedient or you're being the good Christian and obeying your authorities. Come on, guys. We know what that means.
Yeah.
This isn't what this is.
Nope.
This is not what this is. And if we don't do something, well, we have God's given us the authority.
Yes.
God's given us the authority. And this is what it looks like. We're in a time like no other.
Get busy.
Get busy. Wake up. It's time to be the Christian dissidents we were meant to be at this time.
We're not the only ones out here.
There's lots of people.
Here's the deal. Start sharing videos like this. If you don't feel like you want to speak out, just share the videos.
There's lots of ways to do things.
Share with True News. Send some money to these companies these attorneys that are fighting against this evil. There's several attorneys and like Sidney Powell's doing it. She's raising all of her funds to fight this, and there's more of them out there. Jay Sekulow, they're doing it only by donations. Get out there and do something. All right, nothing else. Send some money to these people and let them do the work. That's a voice. I could keep going.
Well, let's pray this out.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're supposed to end this with a prayer because
yes.
You want to.
No,
yeah.
I'll let you do it.
So, Lord, the people that are watching right now, God, I just give them strength. Courage grows, God. Courage grows, Father. And God, build people's courage up. Because I know that not everybody's going to be a loud voice. Some are called to be the voice. But there's something each of us can do. Father, show these people today what they can do to make an impact. And God, we thank you that you are on the throne. We thank you for that. You're on the throne. You knew this was coming before we did. And God, help us to be excited because we have an opportunity to make an impact like never before. We're living in times that are precedent. And Father, I just ask you to just protect the people that are rising up, that are giving testimony. Protect the people that are giving testimony and their lives are being threatened. Protect the lawyers. Protect President Trump. Lord, speak to the hearts of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the people that evil is working and they're being deceived. Save them. I know you want to save them, but God, do whatever it takes to wake them up to your love and your righteousness. And Father, I thank you that you're going to use this video, if it's just one person, that you're going to use it. And give a special blessing, Lord, to each person that listens to this week. A special, special blessing to remind them of your love.
Yes.
We love you. We praise you, Jesus. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
God bless you.
All right. Till next time, more coming.
Yes.
We are the Christian dissident. God bless you.